2, 3, go. Come back.
Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Eric Stewart, branch manager of Axe Lending. We're here again, like we were last week, to kick off our second video. Today we're going to be talking about unemployment in the current environment, Corona environment, and what the new normal may be looking like. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to the team here and introduce Ike Umar, president of Axe Lending.
Hi, how are you guys? I'd like to also introduce on my other team, our business development, Daniel. Eric is our general manager. We got HR. We got Ashlyn, and we got Tavani. So basically today we wanted to discuss a little bit more about what is going to be I guess we're talking about unemployment today, right?
Yes.
Correct. Yeah, so I guess what is unemployment right now? I think what I saw was just 34 million.
That's right, 34 million.
Around 14%.
14% unemployment. That's. I think I was reading. I think when your unemployment goes over, that's kind of the volume. When the unemployment goes over 15%, that's officially entering in a depression. So it sounds like it. We're already kind of getting into it. Yeah, I mean, we've never seen anything like this before. So is there any topics you guys want to kind of discuss?
I guess we could talk about what the new normal is going to look like for everyone. Or a prediction.
Well, let's put it that way. You know, normally depressions are not depression. I mean, recessions are due anyway. Normally after 8 to 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the history, all of the recessions, 2008, 2001, when was before that? 81?
1990.
88. Yeah,
1988. So if you look at all of those recessions have one thing in common. They were all financial. Like 2008 was basically housing. One before that was like overbuilt things.
Mm-hmm.
So when these kind of things are happening, that recession is due anyway. But this is something very different. This is like suddenly, I mean, we were expecting recession to come anyway because prices were getting so high on everything, but we did not knew how is that going to come or when it's going to come. But we knew it was coming.
Mm-hmm.
But in this situation, it's like we don't have any data. Like none of the past recessions, right, Eric? I mean, you've probably seen a couple of the recessions.
Right.
None of these, I'm not calling you old, by the way.
Right, and I'm not taking it that way at all.
So,
Not the way.
so what I'm saying is, we don't have any data for anything having a big recession coming from pandemic situation. So there's nothing to look back at because that's what happens when you have a situation happen. You always look back at the history and see how did we dealt with it. This time I just don't see that. There's nothing to look back. So it's hard to predict a lot of things, but I think the way I see it, this social distancing thing is going to be the new norm anyway, because I mean there's no vaccine ready. When the vaccine comes out and get approved by FDA, then they have to make it mass, and then they have to give everybody the vaccine. So we're looking at least 2 years, 2.5 years. Just so the thing about human nature is we are very adaptive. We adapt things, right? So now, what do you think? After the vaccine is out and people got vaccine, people are gonna start going back to gathering and everything? No, I think.
Well, what
we're
about
gonna
the
be
testing
adjusted.
and stuff for the vaccines? I mean, this is something they've never really dealt with before. So,
What do you mean?
testing for the vaccines and stuff. How are they going to know since they've never dealt with it? It's a brand new vaccine.
That's what I'm saying. We don't have a history about
Yeah.
it.
Well,
So
there is some precedent with the 1918 influenza outbreak, but we're dealing with different markets now than we were back 100 years ago. You know, we're much more.
Well, the world was a lot
globalized.
bigger
We're much more
100 years ago.
globalized. We're much more globalized than we were back in 1918. So there is some data that we can kind of look at, but nothing in the modern era that would prepare us for what we're going through right now.
No, I totally agree. I totally agree. This is pretty crazy though, the way things are working out right now. But I guess we'll learn. I mean, let's put it that way. When the things were good like 4 months ago, we all knew, like the music was on, right? I think Sam Zell gave a very good example out of it on one of his interviews. It's like the music was on and we all are running around the chairs. And all we were just trying, when the music ends, all of us get one chair. Because give us a surety to go to the next round, right? So whoever didn't get the chair is gone. And that's exactly how I see it for the companies right now. Basically, I mean, the music, they stopped and we all just like, that last second, everybody's trying to find that chair. That's what we all doing right now, trying to find that chair right now.
Anticipate the market's gonna do.
Exactly.
Yep, and if you're left standing, you're unemployed. And it seems like it's a staggered type of release. I know that we're seeing millions upon millions in an increase in unemployment, but we haven't even gotten to the point of PPP expiring. And when those salaries end, those companies are gonna lay off. There was a recent announcement yesterday that airlines are gonna lay off 7,000 to 8,000 pilots. That effect hasn't even happened yet. So you're gonna start seeing a lot more unemployment, and that's kind of the new norm. Where is that gonna take us?
But I think, when people are talking about, just remember one thing, the worst is not even here yet.
Right.
It's not even started. Because you have to understand one thing. I think government did a decent job, injecting money in the economy, but that money is gonna last only like weeks.
Mm-hmm.
This is like all artificial. Like I think there's a new bill is about to pass, or they're trying to pass.
$3 trillion. Yeah.
Like, how long do you think that's gonna? That is not the solution to fix this problem. We gotta get the economy going. I mean, I think, let's say if I'm a person and I'm hand to mouth kind of a situation I had to make a choice to have my children to be hungry, have no food for them, or me go take my chances and go work and provide for my family. What do you think? What kind of choice I'm gonna make? More than likely, I'm gonna take my chances. I'm gonna go work. So a lot of the things right now they're doing, like not letting things open, I totally don't support that. I think people we're Americans, we are not stupid. We got the idea what's happening. Okay, you guys made your point as a government and the local governments. I mean, you need to let people go back to work at least. I mean, I understand you want to keep the restaurants and all that little bit like 25% or 50% of capacity. That's understandable, but you can they have to let people go back to work, because the longer we're staying, the worse it's going to get. And today we're kind of talking about unemployment. I mean, we're losing about 3 million jobs a week on this, right?
I saw that Goldman Sachs released an article 2 days ago saying that they're changed their prediction to 30% in the next 6 months.
Unemployment.
Yeah, so double what it is right now.
Wow. So let's say we almost near 40 million. And how many taxpayers we have in this country? 150 million?
That's right.
So out of 150 million, like 40 million, let's say when it goes to 50 or 60, half of the tax revenue is gone anyway. And then a lot of these people, don't really have jobs. So what do you think gonna happen? More than likely, they're not gonna be able to pay their mortgages, a lot of them.
Yeah.
And you guys gonna see big rush of real estate. Like a lot of foreclosures, I'm sad to say, but it's coming. Which is great for investors, because real estate gonna stay there. The ownership gonna change.
That's right.
Basically, the homeowners, more than likely, I see in 3 years will become renters.
That's right.
Maybe in their own house.
Yeah.
That is a pretty good possibility too. They will be renting their own house from someone. So, that's the kind of things happen. I think we were also, there's any other topics?
Well, that's a good segue into housing, right? How's that going to affect housing? You're going to have, people who owned a $500,000 home in a city where the median price is $250. you're gonna see them shifting to it. They're either gonna get into a $250,000 home or they're gonna rent. So, where does that opportunity lie for our investors? Well, our investors would be prudent to acquire rental properties that are affordable. You're gonna have homeowners who, are still gonna eventually be able to bounce back and, in the interim, you can start cash flowing real estate, utilizing some of our rental programs to acquire property, hold them, cash flow, and be ready in 3-4 years when those renters are ready to become homeowners again.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Where would jobs move to, do you think, now that so many people are getting laid off? What would you think be the next step for them?
That's a hard prediction, okay? I don't
You see a
know.
lot of people working from home now, so.
Well, I think working from home will be pretty new normal, I think.
Yeah.
You would think that a lot of companies would now, instead of,
Putting people in the
putting
cubicles.
people in a cubicle or having to spend that extra rent in office space, they would probably just get used to, okay,
The new
having
normal.
them, yeah.
No, I think this is gonna be, because the thing is, we got technology now. I think technology, like tech sector, I'm never really been big investor of tech sector, but I think the tech sector is gonna do well in the next couple of years, because I think Google Suite with our company account, they just gave us like a same, like you can do like meetings now.
Google Meet.
Google Meet or
Competing with
something.
Zoom now.
So,
I
and
saw
it's
that.
free. I mean, it's not free. I mean, we pay for it, but it comes with it. That was pretty awesome. So I think the tech sector is gonna do well. I think you're gonna see dependency gonna move more online. I think retailers, especially these big box stores, malls, gonna start going out of business soon. Because people just not gonna pay these crazy rents. Because and it is crazy sometimes. A lot of things we used to find about 10 years ago in the store, we can't even find them. We have to order online now. The stores
Right.
don't even have them.
Yeah.
Right.
So
So maybe the retailers should go to warehousing, right? Because they're gonna be shipping more, taking online orders.
Mhm.
And then where are those employees gonna go? There's that shift.
I think one of the
Big
biggest
question.
shift I see, because sometimes a lot of people do impulse buying, right? So if you want something, you want it in your hand right away. That's why you go to the store, right? So I think one of the things I think gonna be a big shift. You're gonna see the shipping part. Shipping industry gonna do very well. That's just my opinion, because I think what they're gonna try. I think with Prime, they're already doing delivering next some things. I think it probably in 5 years. I think you're gonna see you order today before 12 o'clock. You'll have your item tomorrow.
Same day
Or maybe same day
Yeah.
if it's locally. You probably will see same thing like Instacart and Uber Eats. Like I think, damn, I just came up with an idea. Locally, you can hire people.
Don't say it on here.
Yeah. So anyway, so basically, that would be, I think that people want it right away.
Mhm.
And I think that will be, the shipping company's gonna do very well.
Yeah,
I think
Neiman
so.
Marcus just filed for bankruptcy.
I
I
saw
think
that.
JCPenney's too.
JCPenney, J.
J.
Crew, True
I think
Religion, Gap.
my buddy Ty Lopez, I
Yeah.
think he's buying into
Right.
JCPenney. He asked me if I was interested, but it's not really my thing to go in retail. I think right now, safe in investments I'm looking at is mostly going to be real estate. Right now, I'm not buying anything, probably until end of the year. I'm gonna start buying normally early next year and end of the year, because so here's the issue right now we're dealing with. So everything's stopped, right? And people are looking at the prices, the seller looking at the prices of the houses or properties 4 months ago, right? And the buyer looking at their price is already next year. Are you getting what I'm saying? Like what happens when you have some more it's like a cat and mouse game, buying and selling. Like buyer try to have a leverage over the seller try to always have a leverage over buyer, right? That's what it's gonna come down to. And whoever is have a more leverage, normally deal goes his way. So right now, I think the problem is right now the buyer are looking at deals, looking for bigger discounts and lower on the pricing on the real estate. but the sellers are still kind of stuck with the pricing with December, January, February kind of a price. So I think the reality haven't really synced in all the
I
way.
think it's gonna take a couple more months of data.
Yeah.
We've only gone into this for a couple of months now. Most real estate professionals look at a good 6 months worth of comps for, while they're doing their evaluations, so
Mhm.
we still have a few, we still have.
But the thing is, the
some-
comps don't really work in this situation right now.
Right, no, I agree, but what I'm saying is, the data's not gonna catch up to the current reality, for another few months.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
and it's all on the pause because, a lot of those homeowners are still getting unemployment or some kind of, stimulus. So there's a false sense of,
Really?
of relief, that's
Yeah.
right. But once that all sinks in, I mean, you'll really start to see a huge discount in pricing. And, the properties closer to median price or properties that will rent well, I think are gonna stay pretty stable and consistent in value, but your $1 million properties are gonna be worth $850, so the larger the property, the more you're gonna see that bubble
More of a
pop.
hit.
Yeah, because you have to understand, if the property is worth like $1 million or 800,000, let's say, I mean, I live in Tanglewood, right? And I was looking at the study. Tanglewood is a great area, very expensive, but it's a terrible market for renting.
So you're saying a lot of
You
the
know,
houses that are.
because houses
more
are so expensive
they're gonna
when you buy.
depreciate.
No, because when you buy the house for like $500,000, 700,000, but you're gonna get a rent only like 3,000 maximum.
Right, yeah.
Versus you can buy 4 houses now in maybe near Hobby Airport and all over different area, and you can get 1,500, 1,400 rent, so you get 5,000 in rent with the same investment. Are you getting what I'm saying?
That's right.
So
As a rental investor, you follow a 1% rule. For every $100,000, you want to be renting for $1,000, right? So at 100,000, you could easily rent $1,000. 200,000.
that's almost 12% return.
2,000 a month is harder. 300,000 with the 3,000 a month rental is even less likely. $500,000 with 5,000 a month, it just doesn't happen, right? That it starts to get away from each other. So
And why do you think is the reason? Because if somebody can pay $5,000 rent, more than likely you can buy their own house.
that's right.
Yeah.
So the math doesn't add up,
That's right.
And I mean, I have a friend of mine. I'm not going to call the name. He might be watching, but he bought a house for like 900,000 in Sugar Land, and I was like, what are you thinking? And I'm not talking about right now. I'm talking about like 5 months ago, 6 months ago. Oh, I'm gonna make this corporate housing and all that. Maybe he's right. He can. Maybe he knows something I don't know. But I'm in a real estate business. I look at deals all day. Does it make sense? It does not. Like this corporate housing concept, people buy these big houses. It just doesn't really sit well with me because, like, even like me and you travel. Do we rent a house or no? We just get a hotel.
That's right.
Right.
Depends on if you're talking long-term stay or not, is really what they're getting down to.
I understand,
Yeah.
but anybody can just rent a nice house.
I agree.
You don't have to buy a house to have that rare customer who's
Right.
gonna rent that from you.
And the days of co-op and corporate housing and having people clustered into one box is basically gone. Yeah, it's fee simple ownership. Homeowners who have their own land on their own property and distance from each other is where the demand's headed. It's just part of it. So, fee simple property within median pricing is really the place to focus if you're investing.
Do you guys have any other topics you want to discuss?
I think we wanted to bring up, what do we think the climate of the fossil fuels and the energy is gonna look like locally and on a national level?
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm not a big energy expert in the industries, but what I see the prediction wise, I think gas, like the oil value will come back, like on a per barrel Wall Street. I don't know if it's going to be 60 what it was, but it is a pretty good chance they're going to be back. I think they're negative right now, right?
Yes.
The
They
oil.
did go
They were
negative
negative last week.
in the futures contracts, and then futures are due this week. So we're gonna see if it's gonna happen again.
But here's the thing, the way I'm looking at it, I think the fossil fuel will do okay still. I think that the coal, that's gonna be the one I think we're gonna change, a big change to clean energy, like those wind turbines and all that. But the reason I think they're going to be okay, the fossil fuel, which our Houston economy depends on big time, I don't see in my lifetime, really, in next maybe 30 years, like we're switching over from gasoline cars totally to electric. Maybe next 50 years after maybe I'm gone. I don't see myself living 50 years, but what I'm saying it, I mean, it's going to switch, and then there's some technology available for electric for planes, like commercial use, but we are way too far out there to have a passenger electric airplane. So there's still going to be too much dependency on the fossil fuel for a long time. So I just don't see people just shifting suddenly from one industry to another. But I think one of the things I think people don't realize, they talk about it, because there's a new industry coming, so we're gonna basically, people lose jobs. But you also have to add when people are not using something because something else, something else come up, so people switch over. So basically, when let's say Tesla, like they're coming electric cars, don't you think they created a lot of new jobs? They created a lot of jobs, I'm sure. Like we're looking at solar, don't you think like they is creating jobs? The people putting those wind turbines, these are jobs. So when we getting out of one
Even
industry,
grocery stores are like now hiring left and right, just,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. I mean, I was looking at Instacart
That's
account,
crazy.
like they've been hiring and their stock is really up now. I think 20% So I mean, I see pretty good future, for some of these things. Anything else you guys wanna?
When we talked about something about how, for investors, what do you think, I guess, the way that they should go, a fix and flip or a buy and hold? Now with, everything that's happening, remember we called it the modern living?
Yeah. So I mean, I think there should be a huge shift to cash flowing real estate, so that you can get through this phase, as a sort of a bridge. It's a really interesting place in banking right now because institutional banks, although being liquid, have increased their requirements. So it's really hard to go get a regular mortgage. So we can bridge that gap. We can provide a 5 or 10 year ARM. Granted, the interest rates are up right now, but our liquidity is still there. We're here to fund. We can carry y'all through until you all refinance into a longer term. But because of that, now there's less competition out there. So if you really are searching for property right now, you can probably get some really good prices because the buyer pool has just dried up. Competition is not going to come back for another quarter, maybe 2 quarters. So I would strongly suggest moving into getting some rentals right now, especially in the affordable sector.
Yeah, I mean, when you even get into rental, I mean, sometimes like people who make a lot of money, I see a lot of the guys in the oil business, they kind of discuss with me. And what they're trying to do, they want to buy like an A class, like a high-end places. No, you gotta go for the mass. You gotta go like what people are really gonna need. So I would not suggest to go invest on the high-priced properties. And even the people like sometimes buying $1 million house and they can flip it for 1.7, 1.8. The customer's not gonna be there, I think. So I would not invest. I think the small deals gonna do well, like 100, 200,000, 250. Just remember one thing: if you are a real estate investor, the price get bigger, the less customer base you have. So if your price is 100, 150, 200,000, there's more customers you have. So the customers change. So I would suggest just stick with like 100. Don't go over 250. I wouldn't personally.
Right.
For next at least 24 months. And I think for the biggest opportunity I'm seeing is about to come for investor is a buy and hold. going to be a huge opportunities to buy houses really good, cheap prices, fix them and put them as a rental. And so next year, I think probably after March or April, you guys gonna start seeing some decent amount of foreclosure hitting the market. And so you might be able to find a deal like 50 cents on a dollar, 60 cents on a dollar. I don't know if it's gonna go like 2008 low, because this recession is overall, not just a housing market. And I think I think the good investment will be also multifamily, not A class or even B. Stay with B minus C plus. I think those will be pretty safe bets for next year to invest on. Anything else you guys want to go over?
No.
Okay. All right, guys. We're making this routine now. We
Every
get on
Friday?
every Friday around 12. We're late today because Bonnie was late. So,
Thanks, guys.
but I do like to discuss a little bit about X. We are back. We are open. We resumed lending. Right now we're lending about 17 states, but next week we're going to be resumed to all 48 we were lending before. Our buy and hold program is on hold right now, but we are doing fix and flip. The guidelines are changed, and you can contact some of these wonderful people here, and they'll be more than happy to help you. And hopefully, just contact us if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
And the other one.